Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Indie Diarist podcast, a show on the human stories behind indie game development. This is your loyal Indie Diarist and host, Anthony L. Wolf, writer, game designer, and senior content manager in social media. As you guys already know, if you've listened to other episodes before, this is another episode in collaboration with Gentleland, which was founded by Jackie Martin, an amazing marketer from the Twitter scene. And this one is with Laurenz, who is an amazing solo developer who's working on Edenfall, which is like a fantasy RPG or open world game that we'll talk about during the episode. Before we dive into the episode, I want to shout out to amazing patrons who are Zagini, Fishbandev, and Pelig. You guys are incredible, and I love having your support every single month. If you two listeners want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/theindiediarist or check out the links in the description of the episode so that you can gain access to episodes in advance and to an archive of video episodes, bonus content, and a lot more. But without further ado, this is going to be the last episode in collaboration with Gentleland for the rest of the year, so let's get into Indie Diary number 58 with Everflux Games. Hello everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the Indie Diarist podcast, a show on the human stories behind indie game development. You know all about me because you've heard it from the intro, but today I'm with Everflux Games, actually, and Laurenz especially. He just ran a successful Kickstarter for, well, not just, I think it was recently anyway, but you ran a successful Kickstarter for your game, Edenfall, which is a beautiful fantasy game. From everything I've seen, I've already fallen in love with it. But I'm going to hand it over to you, Laurenz, and please tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, what you do, where you're based, and what you're working on right now, which is, of course, Edenfall, but better to hear it from you.
Hi, I'm Laurenz. I'm from Innsbruck. It's a small town in the western part of Austria. If you don't know Austria, it's a really small country in the center of Europe again. But it's really pretty, so if you have the time, definitely check it out. I'm the developer, I'm the sole developer of Edenfall. It's an atmospheric action adventure, and as we recently heard, we had a Kickstarter campaign in June, which was successfully funded. So this was like a huge step towards reaching our or continuing the development of Edenfall. And I'm an architect.
Right.
So I studied architecture. I'm currently also working in an architectural office part-time. So because I need to get a little bit of funding for everyday costs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And and the other part, spending time with developing Edenfall.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my sister's also an architect, so that's good. I know a lot of architects in general. So yeah, that's nice. Yeah, actually, I think you're not the first architect to come on the show and then say that they're also developing a game. I don't remember who the other one was, but it was some time ago. So yeah, no, that's really interesting. But hang there for a second. So you said you're a solo dev.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Because one of my notes for this episode was the game looks great, so unlikely to be a solo dev. Interesting. So yeah. Well,
I mean, I had a for example for animations. I met this guy Neve online, and we did some kind of arrangement, I would say. So I showed him how to work in Unreal Engine a little bit more, how to develop game animations, because he was like he came from animation film. So he wanted to get into all this game animation stuff. So I showed him a lot of stuff in Unreal Engine. He made some really cool animations for Edenfall. Yeah, so it was basically a win-win situation. Now has a job in the game industry, which is great.
Nice. Okay.
So it was definitely worth for both of us.
Okay.
But other than that, I mean, the music, I'm trying to have a composer, which was like also a big goal for the Kickstarter, having the funds for the composer, who did, for example, the music in the trailer. So even if you haven't checked it out, I really recommend checking out the trailer. I think it turned out
do
really
check
good.
it out. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. So that one.
Yeah, and we definitely want to continue the collaboration and take the score.
That's amazing. And also, apologies for mispronouncing potentially the name of your game. So I hear that you refer to it as Edenfall, but also Edenfall. So what is the right way to say it, would you say?
I'd rather say Edenfall, I think.
Edenfall. Yeah. Let's just say Edenfall for the rest of the episode then. Perfect. Now, I always like to open these episodes with a little icebreaker. So this is one that I want to ask you. If you could be any game's character for a day, who would you be and why?
That's a hard one.
I know it's a hard one, yeah. What I find is that usually the first character that pops through your head is probably the right one. So yeah.
I would say Ari from League of Legends.
Right, okay.
Because I just think it's a really cool character. Also because he's part fox, and I really like foxes. Foxes are so cool. Yeah, I think that was the first popping into my head. I think I had a little bit of a hard time because I usually don't play that much of RPGs where you play like a really special person rather than games where you just pick a person, like pick different champions and stuff.
Yeah, and I was just checking because I thought I remember right, and I do. So in Edenfall, you play along Alkina the Spirit Fox. Exactly. So that shows that it shows your love for foxes. That's great. Okay, well then, now these episodes are always about my guests rather than their games. So I'd like to ask you a few things about you. So and to start, I'd always like to start from the beginning. So when you think about your first experiences with games, what is your earliest memory that involves playing games or even just watching someone play?
Yeah, I think my first actual memory was I don't know how old I was, because I didn't really have a Game Boy and all this portable stuff, which were like quite common back then. But I think the first thing I remembered where we were at the cousin's place, and I think he was playing Diablo 1 at the time. Okay. So this was one of the first things I remember. And the other thing was when it was another cousin. I have like a lot of cousins. And he had PlayStation 1 and we played, how was it called? Some car racing game. Super famous car racing game.
Wipeout, maybe?
No, I can't remember anymore. This was like, we played this a lot as well.
There's Wipeout, there's Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo.
Oh, Gran Turismo, there you go. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And I always played the same car, which was super hard to steer, but I just liked how it looked.
Yeah. My uncle played Gran Turismo a lot. I don't know if he still does, but he still definitely likes Gran Turismo. So yeah, no, that's how I knew the series. I was never much into racing games, but I enjoyed them.
Me neither, but back then they just had like 1 or 2 games. And
yeah, no, well, it was how it worked, wasn't it? Like you would play the same game over and over. I remember when I had Prince of Persia: The Two Thrones, which is the third one in the series, and I remember playing it like it was the only I had played everything else I had in my PS2 catalog at the time. And that was the freshest game, and so I played it like over and over, and every time I would try and find new secrets where there wasn't any, but it was just fun to try and hunt for secrets because I was like, okay, this is what I have now, so let's just play the hell out of it. And I think I played it like 3 or 4 or 5 times or even more, for absolutely no reason. It's an interesting game, but it's not the best in the series by no means. But anyway, Yeah, so well, aside from these games that you mentioned, what other games do you remember playing growing up? And what I'm hinting at here, or what I'm trying to get to, is what kind of influence do you think your childhood games are having on Edenfall or what you're working on right now?
What else did I play? Okay, we had like this old computer, and
Mm-hmm.
then from a friend I got like this. Um, I'm not sure how it's called in English, but this disc, right?
Uh-huh.
This uh, which had like I don't know 3 MB of space, and there were like
Right.
hundreds of games on it.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well,
And there were like,
good old days.
yeah, it was so cool. There were like this skiing game I played a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Other than that, a bit later, I played a lot of Diablo 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like this game, I really played a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't have like a good internet connection back then, so I just played offline, which is a lot more tedious
Mm-hmm.
if you want to get
Yeah.
to a high level.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but like Diablo 2, I really played a lot.
Mhm.
Also Diablo 3 and 4, not so much anymore. But yeah, I think
Yes,
Diablo
yes.
2 I played really a lot, and also Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Roller Coaster Tycoon, yeah. Well,
Oh, that
there
was so
was
awesome.
there
I
was an
love
article
that
that
game.
came out recently about Roller Coaster Tycoon being a masterpiece of a game, but
Yeah.
having never played it, I didn't read the article because it was like, no, I want to experience it first. But I
Oh,
know I
yeah.
should because I know
Yeah.
it was a masterpiece of
It's
game design. Yeah.
yeah. It was so fun, and it was also. I think the Roller Coaster 1 was done by one person, right? Or like
Maybe yeah, potentially. I'm not
he
sure on
was
the
he was
story of the
also the
Roller
guy
Coaster
who
one.
did Transport Tycoon. I've also played that,
Okay.
and yeah, it was. But we we spent hours making roller coasters, and there's like the
Yeah.
sandbox mode where you don't have to care about money and just have like unlimited
You
of
just have
space.
to you just have to build good roller coasters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so cool.
Amazing, amazing. Well, and I guess we're getting closer to the present, but when did you realize you wanted to make games? And this is probably something recent for you, isn't it? Because being an architect and such, maybe you weren't into game development before, or maybe you were. Who knows? So, yeah, was there some sort of aha moment, like a light bulb moment for you?
Yeah, that definitely was, but I think it's more recently than you might think.
Okay.
It was I would say it actually was more of an accident, because
Okay.
I was researching for possible architectural visualization programs
Mm-hmm.
at the time. Like it was like 5 or 6 years ago, and yeah, during this research, I stumbled upon Unreal Engine,
Mm-hmm.
which was also for yeah, there were like different. I watched a lot of videos back then, and yeah, so I tried out Unreal Engine. Also possibilities of like real time go throughs through flats or whatever. And then I did some tutorials and started playing around with like light switches and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
suddenly, and then suddenly, oh, that's. I came. I was thinking, oh, that's super fun. It's like you can create something and then you go and do it like it's in a game, right? and
Yeah, well, that's
and then slowly I just tried out different stuff. I got a few assets and tried to make a character run around and put animations to it and make landscape assets and all this kind of stuff. It was like slowly growing the thought in my head, inside of my head, saying, "Hey, what about you make a proper game?" And yeah,
it's
here
always
we are now.
exactly, yeah, and it's always magical when you play around with an engine the first time, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like it's just very fun.
yeah, and
So yeah,
it
that's
was also like super overwhelming. It
mm,
still it still is. I
yeah,
can assure you.
I bet.
You have like different kind of problems now, but yeah, it was super fun. It
Hmm.
was
Well, then, in that case, well, of course, you are still in the thick of Edenfall or Edenfall development. Actually, would you say there was a particular development challenge so far that has left a mark on you? So something big, a learning that you want to share with other developers, solo or otherwise.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it would make sense to think about your game like what it actually should do, like all the mechanics. Like the problem or like the challenge I faced that I was learning while doing all the blueprints and all this kind of stuff. Like I was learning how the engine works and how you program stuff. So I followed a lot of tutorials, but of course these tutorials were not 100% fitting to what I needed. So I have like a lot of stuff inside of my game. I still have a lot of stuff which I actually don't need.
Oh right, okay.
And also what I redid like the different systems like 2 or 3 times already. I think this is like state of the art. I think every dev does that. But nevertheless, having a good game document is definitely good to have. Like just recently, I think 2 or 3 months ago, I overhauled the whole combat system.
Okay.
I think it's in a really good spot now, but before that, I did like 2 or 3 small changes, trying to make more sense because I have different forms which all have different abilities and this kind of stuff, and I somehow tried to make it more satisfying to use different forms, but people just ended up using one form.
All right.
And so I had to find a way to make it usable. No, I needed to find a way to make it interesting to use different forms.
Yeah.
I think I finally found the way, but we are talking again about the game.
But we're actually there now, because now we're actually where we are and in the present. So like, Edenfall looks beautiful. Like I've seen the trailer, I've seen the Kickstarter, but the trailer especially, and it looks amazing. But what would you say was the inspiration behind it? Like, how did it come to be? Apart from wanting to play around with Unreal Engine.
I think I had different inspirations, both story-wise and mechanic-wise, and also from like the visual aspect. I'm a big fan of the Arcane series. Right. I don't know if you know it.
Yeah, of course.
And I think this series, whether you like the style or not, I think it's super aesthetic. It's like every shot is looking like a wallpaper.
Yeah, it's true.
And this really inspired me to create something similar. I know I can't achieve that, but it was like I want to have like shots which have like this wallpaper style.
Right.
Maybe not every scene, but it's like you go to a vista and then you have like this wallpaper shot.
Yeah, and you have a beautiful vista,
exactly,
beautiful view and such. Yeah, okay.
So this was one big inspiration for how I want to have the play experience of the scenery. And other than that, I have, for example, I really like Kena, Bridge of Spirits, the game.
I have to play that still, yeah.
Yeah, it's also really, really nice and beautiful. I think there are quite some similarities, which doesn't have to be bad.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and also I think it's called Lost Ember. It's like a game where you transform into different animals. I really like that idea.
Also Season After Fall, I think. No, but you're not transforming into different animals there. I think you're just a fox, as in a spirit fox.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, okay, that makes sense. That's really interesting. And of course, you mentioned we talked about the Kickstarter a few times, so I think this is something that people will want to hear about, because I know there's a lot of solo devs in my audience, and there's also a lot of people who may run a Kickstarter campaign at some point. So what's one learning that you wish every developer knew about running a successful Kickstarter?
I think you really need to have a community behind you. I think that's the most important step, like having a community which is willing to invest into your game. I think, yeah, my Kickstarter was quite a close one, to be honest. It just got funded 2 days before the end, so it was a super stressful Kickstarter.
Yeah, imagine that.
So, if possible, gather enough people, so you get your goal really fast. I think it's really it's always like this two-edged sword between like setting your goal. So if you reach your goal, you can actually do something with the amount of money, and not setting it too high, right? I think I nailed it because now actually I can do something with it. If it were like 10K, I wouldn't be able to. I mean, I could use it for different kind of maybe different kind of outsourcing, but it's not a big chunk which allows me to get forward a lot.
Yeah, of course, I imagine that.
Yeah, but it was. I just can say it was super stressful. Like all these preparations beforehand, and then doing the Kickstarter. I think it was worth it in the end.
I think there are very few Kickstarter projects that get funded like in the first 48 hours.
Yeah, you always just read of these games like funded in 6 hours and stuff, but you don't read about...
but like the very few, like for example, I think the first Lone Fungus was funded, and it was a beautiful game. But when Basti went to Kickstarter for funding the second game, he just didn't get the funding for it, and I couldn't really understand why, because the first game was great, and I know a lot of people loved it, but maybe the spin on the second game wasn't unique enough, and so it just didn't. So what he's going to do is going to go back and rethink the game and then retry. But like he had a successful Kickstarter. I don't know in how long that one was founded, the first one, but I know a game that was founded pretty quickly, apart from Hollow Knight and all the miracles that we know. There was Mika and the Witch's Mountain, which you may have seen, and it's like this little game with a witch that just flies around and delivers packages, like much like in Studio Ghibli style. And I think that one was funded also pretty quickly. But that's a really unique concept. Like you're playing as a witch delivering packages. It feels very cozy, and it feels like something that not a lot of people do. Whereas there's maybe an overabundance of pixel art Metroidvanias, for example, and those are harder to get funded. So it really depends, I guess. Do something unique. In your case, I guess Edenfall looks either very beautiful for people and very appealing, or it just has something unique. And I think it's a bit of both. So yeah. But I think we are at the core of the episode and what the Indie Diarist really is about, which is the question that I love asking to every single guest that comes here. Why are you a game developer, Laurenz? What is it that drives you forward? What is that thing that made you go, oh, it would be fun to work on my own game, when you were playing around with a real engine?
Yeah, I think the thing is, I really like, I would say 90% of all actions you have to do as a game dev, right? I love level design, I love character design, I love programming puzzles, all this kind of stuff. It's like if I'm not motivated on one thing, I found 10 other things which I like to proceed to work with. I just also like to create art. For me, it's some kind of art. It's like if I make a new vista, it's some kind of composition and putting all things together for some kind of art piece. That's like the artsy side, which comes from my architectural studies. And for me, it's just a really cool experience to putting all these small pieces together to one big experience, and then showing it to people and getting it out into the world. Let's see if I'm ever gonna have to live from it. I think it's another chapter.
Yeah, well, that will come with time, I guess.
That will come with time, definitely. Yeah. Then maybe talk differently about it, but
yeah. Well, maybe I think you phrased it differently than others, but I think you said some things that a lot of people come to me and say, which is, I really love how everything comes together, and I love creating things for other people. In your case, you also love the process of being a game developer and all the tasks involved with it, which is really something that plays in your favor, I'm sure. What would you say is your biggest struggle as an indie developer instead? Like, what is something that drives you backwards, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, as a solo developer, I think it's also for small teams. There are always too much tasks and too little time, or too little hands, or too little people to do it. You really have to cut it down or spend way too much time on tasks you don't want to do, like marketing and making social media posts. And I mean, sometimes I like it, but usually you should put out like a lot of social media posts in order to do proper marketing for your indie game. I think these are applying for grants or this kind of stuff, which involves like a lot of writing and doing legal stuff and this kind of stuff. But you know, that's like all things which needs to be done to run your business, I would say. That's like the most annoying stuff, but I think that's like everybody's like every
of course. yeah unfortunately, having to pay the bills and having to do all of that stuff. It's absolutely. Well, I guess then, since we're on the topic of small teams and such, do you ever feel, I don't know, lonely or discouraged as an indie developer? And if so, how do you cope with that?
Yeah, I mean, as a solo dev, you're most of the time you're alone. I think it has like two sides to it, because you can't decide everything.
Yeah.
The backside is you have to decide everything.
Yeah.
I think that's like that's for me, because I really like to work with people. Actually, it's like when we worked together on the trailer, together with the composer. This was like such an amazing experience because he's quite. It's Benedict Nichols. He's like the composer of The Falconeer and Omno.
Right.
If it's like, he's a really experienced guy, and he was really pushing to make the trailer as good as possible.
Nice. That's always good. You're talking to a professional when that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like super invested, and there was such a great experience.
Amazing, yeah.
Because at some point I didn't have the head for doing the trailer because like I had to do 10 other shots, but he was like, oh, can you do this shot, and can you redo this shot because here's the grass is clipping through the stone, and I was like, oh my god. But then I redid it, and now it's like it's perfect. So
amazing. Yeah.
Sometimes you just need like this other
that push from someone else. Perfectionism coming from elsewhere. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that was a really cool experience. Yeah, maybe also in the future I want to team up with one or two other people for the next game. That would be definitely, I think, cool. Like having an animator and a programmer or asset creator or something like that. That would be the dream, actually. But yeah, let's see.
Well, who says it won't happen? So we'll see how Edenfall goes, and then based on that, we'll. Well, I know we went into a very deep ditch now, so let's just dig our way out of there. I've got just we're near the end actually, so I just have a couple more questions for you, and then we'll wrap up. And these will be interesting. One of them will definitely be fun. The other one may be still a bit deep, but let's start with that one. So imagine writing a letter or a note to yourself, but several years younger, maybe that kid that was playing Gran Turismo back then with your cousins and whatnot. What would you say?
I would have a good letter for my younger self, which wants to study architecture. I would say go into game development immediately.
I hear a lot of horror stories from architecture. Trust me, it's the same all over the world, apparently. So, yeah. Yeah.
No, the thing is, I really like my job. I really like it. I have really nice colleagues and all that kind of stuff. So I will miss this part if I at any time go full-time dev. But I just like game dev better.
You like game dev better, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so much fun.
Yeah, that's a good sign when that happens, and yeah. Well, and of course, maybe the answer to this question will be interesting. But if you had if you had unlimited budget and time, resources, what game would you make?
Wow, that's a hard question. It's like doing your dream game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably redo Edenfall.
Right. That's exactly what what I was expecting. Yeah, Edenfall, but better.
Yeah, Edenfall, but better. Is that even possible?
It is absolutely possible, and
Yeah,
it's not
sure.
the first. Not the first time someone says that. Like, I always like to say, when you hear someone, there are a lot of people who say, "Oh yeah, I would do this massive MMORPG because with just," and that's fine. But I always like also when people say, "I would do exactly the same thing I'm doing now, but better," because that usually shows that you're doing something that you really love, and you're not just doing it for the money. Or so, not that those who would do a MMO would do it just for the money. Maybe they just want to create a community, but it just shows that you are on the right track, if anything, and that you're really focused on what you're doing now, which is really good. So yeah, that's really great to hear. Well, Laurenz, it's been beautiful talking to you. It's been such a lovely chat, and honestly, I can't wait to get my hands on Edenfall because I feel like I'm gonna love it. So it's time for some parting words from you. So where can other people find you, and if they do, what is the best way to support you?
You can find me on Twitter under, I think, Everflux Games.
If it still exists,
I think it's everywhere the same
months.
handle. It's sorry.
If it still exists in a few months, but
yeah, that's true. But other than that, also on Instagram, we have a Discord channel which is linked on all my socials, I think. We also have a website. So I think best thing is if you join our Discord. So we say hello. We have a really nice community there already.
Okay. Well, then, in that case, Laurenz, I wish you the best of luck with Edenfall. It's been, again, lovely talking to you, and thank you for wanting to come to the show. I will just say to Jackie that it was lovely. And by the way, this was part, I didn't mention it, maybe I'll mention it in the very intro, but this was part of a collaboration with Gentleland with Jackie, which is just, a friend's collaboration, nothing else involved. But if you don't know Jackie Martin from Twitter, you should, because she's just an amazing marketer. So please go and give her a follow as well. But I will put all of the links that you mentioned in the description of the episode, Laurenz. And other than that, I wish you the best of time with Edenfall. And again, I can't wait to play it myself.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you. All right, folks, and that's a wrap on another episode of the Indie Diaries podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to Laurenz for being such a lovely guest. Edenfall looks splendid. It looks gorgeous. It looks amazing, and I can't wait to get my hands on the actual game myself. There's a demo on Steam, which I'm probably going to try for the Blank Pages series on the YouTube channel. And if so, there will be a video coming out about the game as well pretty soon. So yeah, thanks again to Laurenz. Thanks to Jackie for supporting and collaborating with me on this little series throughout the year. I'm sure there's more developers coming up, and yeah, I can't wait to meet all of them. If you guys enjoyed the episode, please subscribe to the show. You can leave a rating, 5 stars, that always helps. You can also follow me on social media by going to theindiediarist.com or checking out the links in the description of the show and the episode in general. So yeah, you'll be able to support me in a lot of different ways by going through those links. You can also check out the links for supporting Laurenz, so that you can just check out his link and wishlist and do everything that's needed to help him get his game live. If you are an indie game developer yourself, please get in touch, because I would love to tell your story to the world, and because I'm always hungry for new stories from the indie game development community. Other than that, I guess I'll see you in the next episode of The Indie Diarist.